The Atlanta Braves, kind of surprisingly, have a chance to sweep the Detroit Tigers today. Here's your 10-minute scouting report for today's game. This is your Braves Today Report, a production of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby. In the next 10 minutes,
breaking everything you need to know before first pitch. Today, it's the Braves and the Tigers in the finale of the series. So let's get into it. Both teams put up their lineup for today. And the biggest thing for me here for Atlanta is there is no Michael Harris, right? This is a situation where Ronald Acuna Jr., Drake Baldwin behind the plate, not DH against the lefty. Ozzie Albies 3, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Mauricio Dubon moves to left in a game where Mike Yastrzemski's not going to play because it's a lefty on the mound. Kyle Farmer checks in for his first game, his first start, I believe, of the year at DH. Jorge Mateo at shortstop and Eli White in center. My question here, is Michael Harris out of the lineup for like load management? They just want to make sure his quad is okay before he goes to Colorado, because that is a lot of running to do when you were in Colorado. It's a massive outfield. Or is that grimace that the broadcast pointed out late in yesterday's game, is that something that's bothering him? Like, did he mess up or re-aggravate the quad yesterday? We'll find out more about that once media gets to the ballpark and Walt Weiss addresses the media before the game. Bryce Elder gets the start for the Braves today. He's quietly been one of the best pitchers in baseball. 3-1, 195 ERA. He's outperforming the inputs a little bit. 286 expected ERA, 312 field and independent pitching. But it feels legitimate. He's throwing a 5-pitch mix to lefties with the addition of that cutter. He's at 17% cutter usage. It's slider, four-seamer, cutter, changeup, sinker. Righties still almost entirely see the sinker slider. 87% usage there. He sprinkles in four-seamers. He sprinkles in changeups. That's about it. There's only 20 at-bats and 3 hits in Detroit's lineup off of Bryce Elder. Gleyber Torres is 2 for 6. Spencer Torkelson's 1 for 3. And Spencer Torkelson's 1 hit is a homer off of Elder. When you get to the Tigers, it's a lot of trying, they only have 4 lefties in the lineup against Bryce Elder. It feels like they weren't necessarily going for that. They were going for guys who were speedy, some stuff like that. Lefty Kevin McGonigal leads off at shortstop. Second baseman Gleyber Torres bats second, as he has all series. He's a righty. Colt Keith is the DH, batting third. Riley Green in left field. The back-to-back lefties there in Keith and Green. Spencer Torkelson, right-handed hitter at first base, batting fifth. They go with Kerry Carpenter in right field, another lefty hitter batting sixth. And then it's kind of a rough bottom third of the order here. Matt Vierling in center field, Hao-Yu Lee at third base, and backup catcher Jake Rogers in for Dylan Dingler, batting ninth. Those 3 guys, Vierling, Lee, and Rogers, have combined for 2 home runs and exactly 1 batting average over 200. And that's Hao-Yu Lee's 238. Vierling's batting 193. Rogers is batting 148. Just not a very good bottom third of the order, but Vierling's got some speed, and it might help against a ground ball guy in Bryce Elder. Framber Valdez on the mound for the Tigers. 3.41 ERA. It's mostly earned. 3.92 expected ERA, 3.79 FIP. But his strikeout rate is severely low. 16.2% strikeout rate. He's also walking 9.5% of batters, which is both below average. So his strikeout to walk ratio, which is something that this point in the season has pretty well stabilized and is a pretty good signal of quality, is only 6.8%. It's one of the lower ones I've seen from a guy that has a decent ERA. And when you look at what he does well in the StatCast card, he has really, really struggled to miss bats this year. His whiff rate is incredibly low. His strikeout rate is incredibly low. He gives up hard hit contact, 37th percentile, 42% hard hit rate, but he's one of the best starters in baseball at getting ground balls. 86th percentile mark at 54.1%. And it's a lot more acceptable to hit a hard hit ball when it's on the ground, or to give up a hard hit ball when it's on the ground. So Atlanta's really going to have to work on trying to elevate today. We saw the adjustment made in the at bat from Matt Olson last night on the Kenley Jansen cutter after Ozzie swung over some of them. He adjusted and lowered his sights a little bit and was able to elevate the ball. And it ended up, he was just trying to get a ball in the gap, and it went all the way out of the ballpark. The way that Valdez has attacked hitters this year, he has gone with sinkers early in the count. And by the way, just like Tarik Skubal, he is incredibly likely to throw you a first pitch strike. He wants to get ahead of everybody. His first strike percentage is very high. And against lefties, 88.2% of the time, that first pitch is a sinker. So if the Braves, some Braves hitters, and I'm looking at you, Austin Riley, have been in like an auto take mode early, trying to get ahead in the count, that is a terrible idea against Framber Valdez. He will make you pay for taking a first pitch because he will then get ahead, which means he can cut back on the sinker. He can throw more curveballs. He can throw more sliders. Those pitches together aren't great, but that's how he gets whiffs. If he has a bunch of strikeouts today, it's going to be because Braves hitters either missed or took too many first pitches, and they let Framber start throwing a bunch of curveballs and sliders. If he gets behind, it's still 80-something% sinker. So you want to get ahead in the count against Framber Valdez. When he gets to 2 strikes, that's when he really ramps up the curveball usage. That's when he really ramps up the slider usage. He hasn't thrown a single slider behind in the count to a lefty this year. He only uses it when he's ahead and with 2 strikes. You can practically eliminate the pitch if you just don't let him get ahead of you. For righties, this is something where, again, because he only throws 4 pitches, he's going to throw sinkers early. It's not as significant, right? It's not an 80-something%. It's only a 54%. He will mix in a curveball. He will mix in a changeup on the first pitch, but he's still, every other first pitch, for the most part, an early count pitch is a sinker. When he gets ahead, he's kind of even sinker and curveball usage. There is some changeups in there, but he's kind of even sinker and curveball usage. When he gets behind, it's really heavy sinker changeup. He's looking for that ground ball. So when he gets behind, you can rule the slider out completely if you're a righty, and you can cut back on how many curveballs you see by getting ahead of him. When he gets to 2 strikes, as you'd expect, he's going for that curveball. He's throwing that curveball. He's not afraid to throw the sinker changeup, but he's throwing that curveball, trying to get you out of it. Here's the tough part. For lefties, he has not had a single 3-0 or 3-1 count this year. He has not had a single 3-0 count to a lefty in all of 2026. Now, granted, he mostly faces righties. 80% of his pitches are thrown to righties, but I just find that really interesting. Like he is throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and you've got to be prepared for that. When you look at the bullpens today, let's go back to Valdez real quick. Forgot about this. Ozzie Albies has 3 hits and 1 homer in 6 at-bats against Valdez. Matt Olson has 2 homers and 5 RBIs in his 5 hits in his 16 at-bats. There's some surprise. I understand why Jonah Heim's out of the game today. Jonah Heim is 4 for 25 with 6 strikeouts off of Valdez. But Michael Harris not being in the game is a little frustrating. Eli White is 0 for 14 against Framber Valdez in his career. That either means you think he's due, or it means he doesn't see Valdez really well, and there's no reason to think he will today. We'll see which one of those is true. When you look at the bullpens for this one, the Braves are in okay shape. Robert Suarez hasn't gotten into a game since Sunday. He did warm up on Tuesday, but did not enter that game. He didn't get fully hot. He started to toss. So he's available. Joel Payamps hasn't thrown since Sunday. He's not a high leverage guy, but Tyler Kinley got a day off after throwing 23 pitches on Tuesday. He clearly can come back. Didier Fuentes probably could come back. He threw 22 pitches on Tuesday, but I don't want to say he can automatically come back because I don't know if he always been a starter. Is he used to coming back and pitching with 1 day of rest? I just don't know mentally and physically how he's able to respond there. So we don't know about that. Dylan Lee is likely down today, given he threw 28 pitches yesterday. Ronaldo Lopez threw 17. He covered 2 innings very efficiently, even if the stuff wasn't great. I assume that they could bring him back, but with him having worked, simply because he's been a reliever before and he knows what it takes. But having worked as a starter, do they want to avoid him pitching back-to-backs as a reliever right now? We just don't necessarily know. When you look at Detroit's bullpen, a lot of the low leverage arms are available, right? Drew Anderson threw 42 pitches on Saturday. He has 4 days off. He's the long man. He's good to go. Brendan Hennefy, Will Vest, they haven't pitched since Sunday, so they're fine. Burt Smith and Brant Herter both came in and pitched after Casey Mize left a game on Tuesday. They covered 30-something pitches apiece. I don't know if they're going to be available or not today because this is that weird nebulous zone of like, you throw 30 pitches, do you get 2 days of rest or one? And like every manager's different. I just don't know what the Tigers like to do here. So they may have those guys. They may be emergency only. They may be fully up and ready to go. But things couldn't have gone better for Atlanta last night than burning Kyle Finnegan on a 29-pitch 8th inning. He's the primary setup man and the backup closer. And then walking off Kenley Jansen in the 9th. The only way it could have gone better last night would have been to hang more pitches on Kenley Jansen than just 11. Because I imagine Kenley Jansen can come back today, given the fact that it was only 11 pitches. But you still don't necessarily love the status here of everything if you are the Tigers. You don't love the bullpen situation going into today. Final couple thoughts here on this one. The Braves are going to get plenty of balls into play. The question here is, can they elevate them enough? Braves Today sponsor FanDuel does have them as the favorite on the money line. So Atlanta is favored to win this game, which would be a sweep. It's really hard to predict sweeps, but you can predict one game, and this is the one here. For Atlanta's offense, I mentioned, the ground balls from Valdez. Can you get some baseballs through the defense, either by elevating them or just getting lucky with your placement? For Bryce Elder, he's probably going to end up giving up a homer today. That's probably going to happen. They have a couple guys in this lineup that can do that. Can he avoid letting guys get on base ahead of it? I feel like when we get the not great version of Bryce Elder this year, there's been a couple walks, and the home runs can become 2 or 3 run shots. Can he keep them to solo homers? That's a key today. I always promote this as a 10-minute scouting report. We are now into minute 14. I apologize for the length here, but that is your Braves Today scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, everything behind the numbers, make sure you're subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta and today's 3 things over at bravestoday.com.